All right, Todd here with Jeep Speed Shop, here to talk about LS conversions. Here we have a 2005 Jeep LJ, which is similar to the TJ as far as the engine bay goes. So TJ, LJ engine bays are the same. So the engine we got here is a 2015 Camaro 6.2 liter L99 and the 6L80. So on this one we wanted to run a manual fan, had to change the water pump to a truck water pump, needed to also change the throttle body to a truck throttle body, just so we could run the manual fan, because the front pulley has threads on it for a fan to thread on. Now the pulley size is the same as the Camaro. Here is a Camaro water pump, okay? No provision for a manual fan, so on these you gotta run an electric fan. I like the manual fans better, so we're gonna run a manual fan on this Jeep. Plus, the water outlet's in a different location on the Camaro than the truck. So that's why we had to change the throttle body, because the throttle body on the Camaro motor would hit the upper water port. So on the LJs and TJs, seeing that the frame's so narrow, and to run the stock AC compressor, you need to notch the frame to get the AC compressor to fit. Now on this Jeep we're also going to run a York air compressor. So if you're going to run a York air compressor, you need to notch the frame to run the stock AC compressor. So now another thing that you need to consider when doing a TJ LJ conversion with an LS is the upper mount on the axle, which this one's gone. We had to take it off. You cannot run it if you're running the AC compressor down here, or the upper mount will hit the AC compressor. So we had to make this Jeep into a 3-link. So when you do a 3-link, that means now the Camaro has the alternator that's down low. Can't run that anymore. So we have brackets to move the power steering. So we're reusing the power steering pump from the Jeep. We're putting it there. Different alternator. This is for a truck. This one just so happens to have also a Premier. So I mean, this Jeep seems like it has everything. It's got the kitchen sink and everything. So we got, you know, Premier power welder. It's going to have a York compressor and so on. So and to run a Premier power welder, you got to run a truck. So in this case it works out fine. But if you're doing these LS conversions and using the Camaro engine, you know, you need to do a different bracket system to move the alternator up, power steering over, just so you have room for the lower link, because it'll hit the alternator. So there's a lot of things to consider on doing these LS conversions in the TJ LJs. You know, it's a big job. There's a lot to consider, a lot to think about, a lot of planning. You know, not like a Hemi job, you know, but the Hemi engine's a little bit bigger, but it doesn't, this one here takes up a lot of space too. So it just, different layouts, you know, makes it a little bit harder in some areas, easier in others. I mean, we've done a lot of truck engines, the truck LS's, except for the AC compressor, which is the truck LS's. It's also down there. All the accessory drive is up high. So on that, all the accessory drive will work. But on the Camaro engines, you got to consider moving everything. So now we do have a bracket system that moves the AC up high on the passenger side and moves the alternator up and the power steering. So, and we'll talk about that in a future video that we're working on right now. Okay, well, just a little quick summary on the LS's in a TJ or LJ. And usually when we do a job here, you know, all of our jobs are based on a stock Jeep, because we have no idea, like anybody else wouldn't have any idea of what modifications are done, what do you have to do. So all of our work is based on a stock Jeep, LJ or TJ, or even the JKs. So you know, and then when we get these Jeeps, I mean, sometimes there's a lot of work and modifications that have to be done to make the stuff fit, but it all seems to work. Oh, one more thing. On this Jeep, for instance, and you know, others too, something to consider: crankshaft pulley, track bar, really close. So you got to consider that when, you know, if you have a Jeep that's modified, that, you know, cycling it, making sure the track bar fits, so that the crankshaft pulley does not hit the track bar. So, and this Jeep's running the, you know, the Camaro manifolds, which works. And that's another thing, you know, when you do a 3-link, so you'll get rid of the mount on the passenger side, and then now you'll have a mount on the driver's side, and we moved it way over just so we could get the exhaust to run through. Like I said, we'll talk about things like this in the future. We have other videos that we're going to be working on. But, you know, everybody always says the LSs are easy. No such thing when you're doing a conversion. Easy doesn't fit in any of these jobs. So, it's just a patience deal. And it works. These are great systems. They work out well. You know, and everybody has their idea of how they want it laid out, and this is just one of them. So we thought we'd talk about it, and here we are. All right, we'll be going on to video 2, 3, and so on. All right, Jeep Speed Shop out.